Want to take a minute and just sort of recap what I'm hearing, because I'm a candidate and I'm also a voter, and I'm a candidate because I've been unhappy with things that are promised or not delivered, and I feel like we're hearing a lot of that in this campaign. I'm hearing simultaneously from the candidates around me that we are still playing catch up, that we are planning funding increases, simultaneously acknowledging that it's not going to be enough, but it's committed, and so we should just be happy with that. We're talking about still playing catch up for many, many years of neglect, and talking about then we'll be proactive and then we'll invest. Well, how long are we planning to play catch up? What is the plan to be caught up? Because I'm not really hearing that from the other candidates. I hear rather sedate promises about some incremental funding for a school here or some increase on a program there. One of the things that brings me to the Green Party and makes me want to stand here and talk to you about the Green Party is that they have a real vision for where they want to go. And it's not just about this year or next year or a couple of more dollars for this year. It's long-term investments in transformative changes that make school, that make education better, that make people's lives all around better. Here in my district, which is Surrey-Guildford, I'm walking distance from elementary schools and a high school. These schools have more portables today than they did in 2017 when the NDP managed to form government with the help of the BC Greens. But those schools have not seen improvements in all this time. We have an NDP MLA, and Surrey's been represented by NDP MLAs even during many years when they were sat in opposition. I would have hoped that meant that in 2017 they would have been ready to hit the ground running with things that they could do for Surrey. But we're 3.5 years into that term, and I don't know how many people in Surrey are feeling like things have gotten that much better for them. But we're still being told, don't worry, it'll come if you elect us again. Well, I say elect somebody else. I say look at some other choices and choose some people who maybe haven't broken promises, haven't made agreements and broken them, who are making commitments where the history that they can offer is one of integrity and one of following through. The Green Full platform came out today, including, as Dean said, the education piece right up front. Probably because, sorry again, as Dean mentioned, Sonia's been a teacher and knows these priorities. And I hear this too from teachers in Surrey. I have a sister-in-law who's a teacher librarian at multiple schools here in Surrey, and I have a friend who is a long-time teacher down in South Surrey. And so I have parents who are expressing concerns about the safety in the schools. They're right to be concerned, and we're hearing that even from the public health officer that we listen to very attentively whenever she's speaking, Dr. Mona Henry, and she's telling us not to be afraid, but she is also telling us to be careful when we are seeing lots of exposure events happen in Surrey schools, and that is right that makes us all feel concerned. Within the specific promises that came out from the BC Greens today included increased funding to make sure that there is enough PPE, there is enough of the physical type barriers that are needed within schools when you have unavoidably, you've got kids, even if you have small class sizes, you've got lots of kids coming in and out of the schools. I hope that gives teachers and parents a lot of reassurance in general about the commitments that BC Greens have. Part of the platform that was announced today is a lot of improvement on per student funding, including access to things you mentioned, like these speech language pathologists and school psychologists. There's new supports, additional funding that like above and beyond what's there now for mental health of students, counseling in schools, and increased funding to support remote learning, make those systems more robust for students, for parents, for families, for teachers. And I realize as I'm saying that it might not sound that different from the promises or the statements being made by the other party who's here with us tonight. And that's an example of how these two parties are aligned on some things and can work together on some things, and actually were working together on a lot of these things until they broke an agreement and walked away. None of the things that they're promising you right now, or even the things that the Greens are right now, needed to have an election to make them done. We know you want them. We know that we're going to give the funding. We were already working together on these things. The whole thing being hit pause so that we can go back onto the campaign trail and sit and have these conversations for a month and a half. That's time that these programs aren't being put in place. That's time that this funding isn't already being allotted. It's a very unfortunate bump in the road. You're talking about a teacher who has needs that they're identifying right now. And the reason they don't have those programs, they don't have the funding for that right now, is because the government hasn't given it, right? And they aren't in the legislature right now talking about getting it done. They're out here making more promises about things that they could do in the future.